Hi there, my name's Ben, and you're watching this because it's part of your responsibilities to send out information about legislation that you're tracking to people who care about it. They might be your members, your staff, your constituents. Regardless, you're tracking a list of legislative bills, and you need to send out a list of them with your analysis to some group of people. Legislative reports are the tools we're going to use to do that. So we're going to go real quickly to our Tracked Bills page and get an idea of the playground we're playing in. I'll clear all my filters here. And you'll notice that I'm presently tracking 16 bills of various types. Just quickly paging through here, you'll notice that some of these are tagged with Romulans, some with Klingons, some are red alert, some are yellow alert, some are introduced status, some are passed. So there's lots of different things happening here. And then within each of these bills, we've got a whole plethora of data points, right? My tracking level of yellow alert, it's a data point. My bill title, it's a data point. If I had an alternate title, I like to think of them as a nickname, that's another data point. My staff analysis that I might have written, where I've described why we're in support or in opposition of this bill, that's a data point. So you have all these different options, things that we're going to be able to merge into our legislative report in a moment here. So now let's go with all that in mind. Let's go create a legislative report. And you'll notice you have a couple of different options. You can do a blog style report. So if you're writing a report that is more like a written narrative, where you're writing a paragraph about a bill instead of wanting to merge things in, then you might go with a blog style report. If you'd rather it be more of a list, we're also going to use a blog style report. I'll just show you a different way of doing it. And then also a tabular report. Do you want this to be rows and columns like a spreadsheet? So let's start with blog style. This is the most common that I'll show you right now. And we're going to do it in the list way. So I'm going to call this one the list report. And I'm going to use criteria. Now, I'm going to use criteria because I don't want to have to go recreate my analysis. I've already written it once back on the bill itself. So I don't want to have to recreate it. I don't want to write a marketing version of it. I just want to merge in the analysis that I've already created, save myself some time today. So I'm going to use criteria to say that I want all the bills, in this case, of a tracking level of red alert and yellow alert. I'm going to skip all the we cools for now, right? Now, I might also want to add another rule here and say, give me all the bills that were, I don't know, assigned to a particular author. In this case, let's say either James or Engagifii admin. And so this is basically saying, find all the bills that have this tracking level and are assigned to these people. And you'll notice that that brought me down to a list of only one bill. Now, that's pretty restrictive for our example here. So I'm going to delete that second rule, and that'll bring us back up to 10 bills. That'll give us a good example to play with. Now, what we're doing here is we're creating a template. So a lot of this work, these first 3 steps, you won't have to do every week. You'll only every week have to do basically steps 4 and 5. But we're going to walk through this real quickly so you can understand how to create the template and rinse and reuse it every week. So let's pick the data points that I want. These are the individual fields we talked about back on the bill. Let's say I want the bill number. And depending on what you want to do here, I can provide the bill number without a link. I can provide the bill number linked to the state's website, or I can provide the I can provide the bill number linked to the Engagifii instance of this bill. So if my reader has a username and password for Engagifii and I'm inviting them into the platform to collaborate with me, I would use this option. If not, then I would probably go with the state legislature's option. Either way, it's fine. Now, I'm also going to bring in the official title, again with the state link. And if I've got one, an alternate title. And then finally, why don't we grab our staff analysis? And notice all these other items that you can use, right? My tags, if I'm using them, the current status of the bill, the date that it was introduced, all kinds of information that you can choose to bring in. Now on step 3, it's a formatting. Again, remember, we're building a template. You won't have to go through these first 3 steps every week. But this is essentially a sandwich of information. The meat of the sandwich are the data points that we just chose. And we're going to arrange those in a way that will be visually compelling when we try to tell our story. So let's say first that I want to have, how about our bill number in bold? And our title in italics. And notice what I'm doing here. I'm just styling the merge variable itself. And then I want to have my alternate title, if I have one, down on the next row, and my staff analysis on its own. And I'm going to put the tag all the way up top. There's no right or wrong answer here. You do what works for you. This will just be an example to give you an idea of how you might go about doing this. For fun, let's color the tag. Let's say that the tag, I want it to be red. And I've already bolded and italicized some stuff here. And then finally, in between each bill that's going to be returned, I'm going to put a horizontal line using this tool right here. I'm going to put a horizontal line between each of them just to sort of separate them out. Now, you'll likely want to write out some sort of nice opening sentence here. You might drop in a logo as well, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go grab a logo. Let me go to my pictures folder and get, in our case, the Crescerance logo. And notice how that comes in at full size. I can simply resize it nice and easily, just like so. And then beneath the logo, I'm going to say, this is the weekly legislative report for January 11th, 2021, right? And of course, you're going to write out a more robust paragraph than that, introducing people to what we're talking about. And then down at the bottom, you can have your closing text. Thanks. Call us at 1-800-AWESOME. Right? So you'll be able to create your intro text, your exit text, and then leave those alone. And now that we've formatted the center section, we should never have to touch that again either, unless you want to tweak it. So now moving on to step 4, what it's doing is it's going back to step 1 and running that query again. It's saying, okay, how many bills match this criteria, these tracking levels? And then it's arranging everything in the way that I styled. And so here you can see that I wrote a legislative analysis of this bill that I simply called terrible. Another one, you can see that I've written an alternate title. One of these has the tag of con, right? So, feel free to arrange these things and organize them however you might see fit. And if you want to change the order in which they're arrayed, then you have different ways of grouping. So if I wanted to group these by tags to where all the Romulan bills were together and all the Klingon bills are together, then I can do that. And if I want to sort them by introduce date or by bill number, so within that tag hierarchy, I want to sort them by bill number, A to Z. And so that's what I've just done. So feel free to play with those as well. Then finally, when I click next, I'm looking at my final rendered version, which of course, again, you'll probably have much more robust analyses in there than I do. And when I'm ready, I've got a couple of different options. Most commonly down here, what you're going to do is email the report, where you'll have groups of people set up within your relationships database or individuals, where if I wanted to send this specifically to Mr. Kirk, then I can select his name. Or if I want to send it to all my captains, if I want to send it to all my captains spelled correctly, then I would go to my groups here and choose my Starship Captains group. So that's going to get it to all the captains, right? So absolutely feel free to go in and create groups and then give this a subject, weekly legislative report. And so now I have created a legislative report and sent it out to that particular group of people. Easy as that. So that is your typical list style report. Now let's do more of a newsletter style report using that same blog functionality. So for this interesting diversion here, I'm going to not use criteria. I'm going to skip that. And because I'm not using criteria, I'm also not going to select fields. I'm going to start on step 3. And you'll notice a key difference here because I didn't do those first 2 things. I now don't have the sandwich. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start typing a sentence. We are watching closely, and then I'm going to hit a tilde on my keyboard. That's the button to the very top left, just under the escape key that's got the curvy line to it. When I type that, that's an instruction that says, okay, go look at all the bills that I'm tracking. And here are all the bills that I'm tracking. And so if I'm closely looking at Senate Bill 10, then I just select that from the list, which is about zoning. And then you might type out a whole paragraph about your thoughts on this particular bill. And so if you wanted to do a newsletter style bill, the next couple of steps are the exact same. You just don't do all the formatting work. And you're not bringing in any of the merge variables. All you're doing here is saying, link me to this bill when I do the tilde. Just provide the linked bill. And it's as simple as that. So I'll save that one. I won't send that one. Now, finally, let's do a tabular bill. Excuse me, a tabular report. So for this, I'm going to use criteria, just like we did before. And I'm going to say tracking levels, and I'll just do the exact same thing as we did a minute ago. Okay, so I've got some tracking levels. I'm going to select a few pieces here that I want, like the Senate committee, House committee, what session it was from if I'm tracking multiple sessions, maybe my tag, my tracking level, right? All these bits of information that I'm pulling, and I'm just going to reorder them here to whatever order I think is the best. And then when I click next, it'll look a bit different. It'll look a lot different than our blog style report. This is going to render a spreadsheet that will be sent as a spreadsheet. And so as this generates, realize that you can create a newsletter out of a spreadsheet if you want, right? Just like you might go into Excel and merge certain cells together so that you can type out a paragraph, you have the same basic functionality here. So if I wanted to add a couple rows up here to the top, just like I would in Excel, I can insert rows above. Your Google Docs skills will apply here. And then I can take this whole area and merge it together. And then within that, type my opening paragraph. And then below it, maybe I type another one, right? But in between, I've got a nice slick breakdown of all of my bills. Now, when you do this, this should concatenate your bill number and the link as one. That's an issue we were fighting the other day that I think we've got mostly resolved with an update coming this weekend. But wanted you to see how the spreadsheet actually looks regardless. Now, when I do end up publishing this, when I send this out, one of the things that it'll do is restrict the body of the email to only the cells that have content. And so you can see here that this table ends at column F. So nothing beyond F and nothing below row 22 would render in the email because there's no information there. So definitely keep that in mind. Build some spreadsheets and send out, when you've got lots of bills, send out spreadsheet style reports. I hope this has been helpful and look forward to seeing some of the reports you all create.